Hello and welcome to this Price of Job tutorial. In this video we're going to take a look at the Timber Beams module for Ply Web Beams. To access the Ply Web Beams module, go to the module toolbar and select the Structural Members category. And then click on the Timber Beams submenu and select Ply Web Beam. And create the module. Ply Web Beams are stacked timber beams separated by studs, with plywood glued and fastened with nails or screws on both sides. They can be manufactured to any length and use less wood than solid timber and are comparable to steel beams. To get started, simply input the quantity of beams required. In this case, we'll say we need 8-meter beams. Price of Job uses this basic information to calculate the materials and labor required for the construction and erection of the Ply Web Beam. Next, we can adjust the Ply Web Beam settings. First, we can specify the height, and this will depend on your structural engineer's specifications. They'll also let you know whether the Ply Web Beam should have plywood on 2 sides or just 1 side. And likewise, they'll let you know if the top and bottom chords should have 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom, or if you can get away with just 1 on the top and 1 on the bottom. And these would be the main timbers separated by studs. For these materials, we can select the material drop-down list here and select the main timber material, and then likewise choose a material for the studs. Then we can select the drop-down menu for the plywood, and there's a variety of plywoods in the menu here, including shuttering plywood, structural plywood, or marine. And if you need to add another material, you can select Edit Pack, and either search the Price of Job library or add a new material by inputting the title, unit, price, category, and link. In this case, we'll just stick with standard structural plywood, and Price of Job has calculated the installation hours to be 20 hours, and this includes the erecting and setting in position of the Ply Web Beam. If you feel the time will be longer or shorter, you can override this value. Next, we'll take a look at the insulation. If you don't require any insulation inside the gap, you can deselect this and leave the box hollow. However, if you'll be filling this with insulation, we can select that and then choose either PIR boards or rock wool. In either case, we can choose from the drop-down menu to choose the material that we prefer to use. In this case, we'll choose some dry firm mineral wool. Next, we can specify our fixings. We have a choice to use either nails or screws, or nails with glue, or screws with glue. And then we can adjust the spacings if required. Based on a spacing of 250 millimeters, Price of Job has calculated that we'll require 397 fixings. If we were to decrease the spacing of these fixings, the system automatically updates to show us the number of fixings required, in this case 454. Here under the drop-down menus, we can select the plywood fixings, and the same for the fixings for the studs. And here we see a variety of screws. If we were to choose nails, then these material menus would automatically change to provide us with a variety of options for nails. Again, for both the plywood fixings and the stud fixings. And if your specifications change and you require a different style of beam, Price of Job makes it easy to change this simply by going to the main stage and selecting Ply Web Beam, and then you can change it to either a flitch beam, a glulam beam, timber beams, or timber blocking. And that's how to use the Ply Web Beam module. Thank you for using Price of Job.